Like to say good evening to everybody. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it tonight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it tonight. Yes. Dumbing down children. We're going to get all off into this tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome everybody to the Stephen Cartwright Show. This is going to be a fine addition to the show tonight, and baby, we got a hell of a show tonight. We got a hell of a show coming up tonight, baby. Yeah, this is going to be one of the shows that's going to rattle their cages. Yeah. Yes. We fixing to start getting off into things that where we can begin to solve a lot of these problems that we're having in our communities. Yes. We're going to get into a lot of this tonight. Dumbing down our children, indoctrination. We're going to get all off into that. This shows to, not only help the black community, it's to help all communities. Actually, if you can take something from this to help you out, take it with you. Take it with you, ladies and gentlemen. Take it with you, ladies and gentlemen. Because this is about helping communities, helping people. First of all, now I would like to say welcome everybody to the Stephen Cartwright Show. Here we try to find solutions that solve problems in our communities today. And, some people try to put you on silent treatment or try to mess up your world, but we're not going to let them do that. We're not going to allow them to get away with that. All right. Well, figure out where that. There we go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. I'd like to say good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday evening. And let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Dumbing down our children. Dumbing down our children. But first, if you watching the show, looking at the show, going to the videos, please like and subscribe to the channel because more content. And I would like to make another announcement. More upgrades are coming. More upgrades are on their way. So it's a process in building a YouTube station, a channel. And like I say, I enjoy doing this. This is something that I do have a passion for. And it's to help people to become realistic and and with a better perspective about what's going on around them. Because you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, You got good people in this world, but also, too, you got some very devious people, and we have to keep an eye on them. We can't just trust everybody. And I believe, I believe it is what has got us also, too, kind of in the pickle that we're in today, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe that. So let's get off on into it, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're going to say it like this here. You know, we're going to say dumbing down our children. Dumbing down our children. Mm-hmm. Yes, dumbing down our children, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we this is something we must start to learn, to confront, and we must start looking at this thing head on. This thing head on. This thing head on. This thing. Echo. Yeah, we got to start looking at it from more than one side. We have to start doing this. You know, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime you are a part of society and you want to control a people, you go after their children. You start with their children because the older people, you're not going to get them. And see, where a lot of parents slip at, ladies and gentlemen, is that where they slip at a lot is they take their eye off the ball. They take their eye off the ball. They do. And the ball and the bouncing ball is the kids. Yes. The bouncing ball is the children. Yes. And we're going to get off into that. We have to look at the school system, ladies and gentlemen. There's a way to repair society. There's a way to repair the Black community. There's a way to shake these people so bad where they won't never want to come for you never again. And tonight, we're going to learn this tonight. We're going to learn this tonight. We're going to learn this tonight. Sure is. We're going to learn how to reacclimate with our community. We're going to learn how to do this. In just a second, and we're about almost there. Here we go. Yeah. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, let's get off into it. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the way you control a community and the way you tear down a community, first of all, you have to start with adults seeing what type of mindset that they have, and you go after their children. Because you have to look at several things. You have to look at the public school system, politicians, and you have to look at the quality of people and education of others. Because one thing you want to know is that these people want people to be poor. This is something that I want people to understand. You know, we have become a part of society to where we will accept what other people say as the norm. You know, you have to understand. See, when my children went to school, I'm going to tell you, and I noticed it a lot. And the only way that we found out about specific things is that our children came home and told us. And we always, when I was married at that time, we always told our children to come home and tell us what the people tell them what the curriculum was going to be, or what did they do in school that day. They always did that. We always did that. And we would tell them to come home and tell us about this here, ladies and gentlemen. We would always would. You know, let me tell you something, people. With inside the community, like I said, if you want to change a community, you go after the children. If you want to dumb down the community, you go after kids. If you want a community you can control, you go after the children, because they know their parents and adults are going to get older, and they try to pull it with complacency. This is how they turn your children. They turn your children gray. We're going to get off into it. Hear me closely. We're going to get off into it. How they turn your children gay, transgender, how they get you to accept things that is not a part of the norm. This is how they do it. This is how you keep communities poor. And we're going to get off into tonight how it all began. We're going to get into how it all began. And it still goes on to this very day. How they tore down the African American community. At minimum, to other communities. How children had all of a sudden started to begin to read, how they begin to read on the 4th grade level. But let's go first things first. Let's get into it. Let's start out. First of all, they had to get rid of the African American male. They had to get the man out the house. Before they started to do any of this, they had to get the man out the house. They had to get him out. There was no way that they could keep African American men in the house and pull this off. No way. Just wasn't able to do it. Because they know if you got men in the house, the men see all of this. Because they knew even at that time. You think about it. Ask your parents, ask your fathers. Men did not go for certain things back in the day. We didn't like being gay. You know? We was the type of people that we would get back into it with bullets. We knew how to deal with bullets. We didn't cry about it. We dealt with it. Sure did. We dealt with them. Next thing, we did not allow people to teach our children anything. This is how you dumb down society. You go after the children. In case anybody hadn't noticed, we're getting off into it. You ever notice, back in the day, you look at the news reports, what was one of the first places that they attacked? And I'm one myself. They attacked the Boy Scouts. They have to go after the men first. This is how you begin to tear down a society, people. When they started to tear down the Boy Scouts, that was the beginning of the start. That was a part of the beginning. I ain't gonna say that was the beginning. But the beginning was removing the black man from the home. Second, attack the institutions where young men go to learn how to become men. That's places like the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the Explorers. I don't even think the Junior Olympics even exist anymore. You attack these places, and they ran them out, riddled them with lawsuits. But they started first removing the fathers. 1, 2, next they started with attacking institutions that promoted manhood. They sure did. 3, not only they went through the schools, to promote an agenda that was bad, especially for the African American community, and they indoctrinated. Once they got the man removed from the house, it was almost a shoe-in. And they started with the kindergartners through the elementary school children. And they started working their way up. You notice how things change so rapidly over the years, ladies and gentlemen. And they tore down the community through the children. But there's a way to repair this. We're going to get into this tonight too. This is why I say this is the part about dumbing down children. When you remove the father, And then turn around, you start attacking the institutions that support young boys and girls. You see, the Girl Scouts is still out there, and the Boy Scouts. The Cub Scouts ain't around no more. Because that's the main ones they need to keep societies tore apart. You have to remember that, ladies and gentlemen, these people are crafty. And they start indoctrinating these children with gayism. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you how they did it. I'll tell you more of how they did it. When my children was growing up, I think it was like second, third grade. There was my daughter and my son that came home. My daughter came home. They wanted to teach them how to put a cucumber, how to put a condom on a cucumber. And my daughter had told me and my ex at the time that they told them, don't go home and tell your parents. I was thinking then, I said, hey, if y'all I went up there and tried to talk with them about it. I'll let them know, no, you cannot be teaching my children these such things. Now, let me tell you what, that is a demented mind. You see why I'm talking about how they get to the small children. This is how they do it, people. You want to change a community, you want to change a society, you strike at the smallest children. These people tore up manhood and what it should be. And then you got nerve enough to scream about most black men ain't ish. No, that ain't it. And I have to say, a lot of the women, especially in the African American community, let them in. But there's a way to stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a way to stop it. Definitely. There's a way to turn them sick. There's a way to turn the hands of all of this backwards. Sure is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take back control of our children. We have to do it. We cannot allow these people to just keep running a renaissance on manhood. Oh, you hear them out there, toxic masculinity. People, it's time to get in these people's faces. It's time to ask them, what are you teaching my children? It is time to have a talk with your kids and tell your children to tell their parents to come back and tell them if they're trying to teach them something out of the unordinary. Go through your children. And you should tell your children to tell them, I'm going to tell it. Another number one thing, and I'm speaking to ladies, we have to get the African American man back in the home. We have to put them back. You can sit there and talk about, I'm anti-gay. Yeah, I'm anti-gay when you start messing with my kids. I'm sure it is. I'm not going to sit there and lie about that. Yes, I am. You stay away from the children. Children deserve to be able to grow up and make their own choices and not be influenced by that type of stuff. And letting these people, I mean, it's all other types of things. This is how, and then they turn around, they dumb them down. Let me get back straight, people. Then you turn around, you dumb them down by giving them a poor quality of education. Young men reading on the 4th grade level. They don't say that for these girls. They say that about the boys. Because they don't have, number one, they know they don't have no mentors. They're not able to teach them. This is something that the Black community and all communities should take heed to. But there's a way to turn it around. The way to turn it around is get into these people's faces and you ask them questions and you start messing with them. Bully them. Start messing with them. Oh, you don't want to tell me nothing? I'll take my child out of this school at this moment. You do not allow them to indoctrinate your children. It is how you tear down a community. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. The fabric fell out of the African American community in 20 years or less. Because they tore down every avenue of manhood that they could go after. They sure did. But there's a way to turn it around. Go up to those schools. Do pop-ups on them. These stuff like what Joe Biden and been doing, refute that stuff. You do not let these people have a renaissance in your houses. And one of the main thing of all things, the African-American man need to be back in the house because, see, they knew we was the watchdog. You get the hell out of here. That's what that was. And they knew they had to go to the Black woman in order to achieve such a heinous and ugly agenda, and they got people to start accepting what was not normal, what was not humane. And it tore down the Black community. There's more. There's a whole lot more. They didn't. And then, let me roll back that a little bit more. They took the Pledge of Allegiance out of the schools. They took the Pledge of Allegiance out. I mean, come on now. That's how it all began. First, they started saying, be tolerant. It was all a part of an agenda to tear down a people, and it did it. And it fell through. Everything fell out of the Black community 20 years or less. Sure did. But there's a way to turn it around, people. Number one, the more you want to really do damage to them, the Black man come back in the home. Number two, you terrorize them. You get in their faces. You get in their faces. Ask your children what's going on. What are they teaching you? Go up there and go to those schools. Do pop-ups on them. Yeah, you pop up on them. You do not just sit there and just trust that everything's going to be all right. No. Take the trust factor out of it. Ask your children questions. Did they tell you not to tell your parents? People do not allow these people to teach your children about sex life at such a young age. That type of stuff is for the parents to be teaching. No one else. People, we must take control back of our neighborhood, and you do it through your children, and you teach them different values and morals. You don't have to accept the Biden agenda, the school system's agenda. You don't have to accept that. And ladies, bring that black man, the real black man, back into the home. And act like civilized human beings and get along. The hell with all of that crazy nonsense. Just do it. Take these people out of your lives, and the way that you do it, you have to put the system out of your life, and watch how much more better your children start to turn out. Do not be afraid to remove your children from a school at any one moment. You have to learn how to act a fool about the future. And the children are the future, and they knew it, and that's how they did it, people. That's something that we must understand. We have to understand this here, people. We must understand this. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look back, to take a look back in order to counteract the future, you have to look backwards first in order to move forward in a more positive life. You have to remember, these people don't really and truly mean you any good. And you have to start with the schools and the small children. That is why I named this video, Dumbing Down the Children. Dumbing down children. They will go after your children. And they strip manhood right out of the black community. They stripped out what it means to be a man right out of the black community. They started in school, and then they moved up to high schools because all of a sudden you seen them. They was taken, and they removed out what it really meant to be a woman too, because they start taking out all the trades and skills, and that would bring women alone. I remember becoming a nurse was not a college course, it was a high school course. So they decided when they removed the man out of the home, they wanted to make you pay for it, ladies and gentlemen. They wanted to make you pay for it. Sure did. They wanted to make you pay for it. And they started making you pay for it after that. Sure did. Ladies and gentlemen, these people are crafty. But it's time for us to reach back and take our communities back, and we need to take our communities back through our children. And you ever notice how they start saying, our children? Oh boy, you got an agenda then, partner. We cannot sit back, and we cannot allow this madness to go on. We cannot allow this stuff to just continue on. And you really want to really start striking a blow, go up. Ask about the curriculum. If they want to get funny, they want to start talking that stuff. You might need to think about moving your children to a different school. You might need to start start taking a real long hard at look at these people. Like I'm gonna say this again. You need to start doing regular pop-ups. Need to start doing regular pop-ups at these schools, people. Regular pop-ups. Regular pop-ups at these schools. Don't make no difference what they say. You ain't stopping nothing. They just want to just be able to do whatever they want to do. No. It is how they changed the black community, people. It is how the African American community became destroyed. And they used the women because they played on their female ways. They played on the woman code. And they fell for it, ladies and gentlemen. Hook, line, and sinker. Let me tell y'all something. One of the most funnest parts of my life, being a part of the Boy Scouts and Explorers. I learned so much, and my Scoutmaster was one of my greatest mentors. I don't care nothing about what none of these people are talking about. I love to learn going out to learn how to camp, to hunt. Learning the morals that man need to learn to survive and to learn to become a man. They struck right at the heart of our society, people. They sure did. And it is something that we sorely need to take back. It is time that we put these people on notice. Certainly is. It is time that we put them on notice. Because they went after the children in the African American community. I want to stick this out there. It tore down the community in less than 20 years. Because they knew that they went after the black man first. Then they went after the children and they used the woman code on the woman. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief intermission. And we're going to come back. And we're going to move through. And we're going to go through the things to where it has taken hold. And how you break the holes and the effects. We're going into intermission, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in 3 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're back. Let's get on back off into it. Let's get on back off into it, ladies and gentlemen. Get on back off into it. Get on back off into it. Ladies and gentlemen, like I say, there's a way to turn this situation around. You know, dumbing down these kids just so you can just have your way. It is certainly one of the reasons why the society is falling. And also, too, is one of the reasons why the African American community fell down the way that it did. Definitely, for sure. You know, child exploitation. You know, they exploited these kids, people. And I say to every person that, and I'm going to say something to young people between the ages of 18 and 30. They pull a number on y'all. They sure did. They made you lazy, and they made you lazy. And they got you to accept the unordinary. They sure did. And they did it all behind your parents' back. Because a lot of parents today, they was indoctrinated with the same BS. They tried to do it to mine, but I kept such an eye on them, boy. I was giving them hell back in the day. I already knew what they were doing. Sure did. But there's a way to fix all of this. Y'all have to remember, they destroyed every single institution that supported manhood. They sure did. We're going to start with the Boy Scouts. We're going to start inside of the schools. They took away woodshop. Even some of the girls, too. They took away auto mechanics. Auto diesel mechanics. It's in the high schools. Nursing. Took it all the way in high school. Right? And here's the thing. How they took it away, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get off into this. What better mind that you can teach in a young, fresh mind? They took that and they put that in college. Oh, they want to get paid for that. They want to get paid for that, ladies and gentlemen. They sure did. They want to get paid and dumb you down all at the same time. They did not want to see the black community flourish. And I'm specifically talking about liberal Democrats and the gay community. Sure is. And this is something, and I'm talking to people, mainly from 18 to 30. And also, too, secondly, people from 30 years old and older. The number that they did on the black community, auto diesel mechanics, sure did, wood shop. They came outside of the schools. Let's name some. Let's name a few things that they destroyed purposely. Purposely. Liberal Democrats and the gay community. Let's get on with it. They destroyed the Boy Scouts, and they did it deliberately. Riddled them with lawsuits. They could not survive that. The Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the little bitty boys, the little bitty babies. Anything that had anything to do with manhood, they wanted to destroy it. Cub Scouts, Eagle Scouts, Boy Scouts, Explorers, Junior Scouts, Explorers. All the programs that used to go on at the YMCAs, teaching young men how to swim and teaching young men basically how to be men. You didn't hear about all the gun violence because we had things that we went to in order to teach young boys like how to handle guns. They would teach them how to do it and teach them the safety parts. That's how I started to learn. My scoutmaster was one of my biggest and greatest mentors of my life, on the outside of my father and my stepfather, and my Taekwondo instructor. Certainly was. Guess what these people came after? And they tore down things that worked good, not only for girls, just for girls. They made the girls where they didn't want to be, didn't want to be women. Turned the black community inside out. This is what happened. But there's a way to turn all of that around. Riddled everybody with massive lawsuits. This came from the liberal Democrats and the gay community, and then they went into the schools. Excuse me. They went inside of the schools behind parents' backs to dumb down your children because there was really no opposition because the mothers were too busy at work and they had the fathers so strapped in with child support and bills and they just cut them off. So that way they had free reign with the kids. Free reign. Sure did. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, there's a way to take it back. Harass them. Mess with them. Go up to those schools. Ask your children questions. And if they are doing something that you don't like, you take them on. You meet them in the streets. And then what I mean by in the streets, you go to the city council hall and you get together with your neighbors. And you take these people on and you do not allow them to get away with this, to get away with teaching your children something that you don't know nothing about. They supposed to so-called, they have all of this money. You pay all this tax money. But they want to sit there and they want to destroy the best parts of your children and the community's future, all for some selfish agenda. And that is another form of child abuse. Because look, whatever they do, it ain't right, people. No, it's not. We must start taking advantage. Not taking advantage. We must start rebuilding our communities, and we have to do it through the children. And we have to get we have to start allowing the African American male need to get back in the home. And ladies, if they're not going to get back there, you start sending these young boys with their fathers. And we must start keeping more of an eye on the children. We must start asking them more questions when we bring them home. We cannot allow these people to continue to push a gay agenda or a liberal agenda on our kids. They are going to school to learn, to get an education, not to learn how to be the way people, a specific agenda, a person that they want them to be. That is for the parents to dictate, not the people in the schools. You know, some of these people, they always talk about dictatorships. They're the dictators because they tore down an entire community, a race of people's community. This is something that people that they must understand. A lot of these kids, they don't even know what it means to be kids. And they tore the African American community up. They sure did, and that's how they did it. One, they got the man out the house. They had to move him out of the way because, see what, we wasn't going for it. Two, they played on the woman. They played the woman code on the woman. Three, they tore down everything that turns young boys into productive men. They sure did. Programs in school, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, extracurricular activity after school programs. Sure did. That's how they did it. But there's a way to turn it around, ladies and gentlemen. Get in their faces. Ask your kids what they teaching. And you ask them also, oh, don't tell me what you teaching my kids ain't none of my business. You have to talk to these people. Liberal Democrats, people. Liberal Democrats. That's how the black community got tore up. They did it through the children. Y'all have to remember, the African American community fell through the cracks in less than 20 years. Less than 20 years they did it. Let me tell y'all something. Now, it's done came to the point. A lot of the jobs that men do, when I pass away or when I get too old, we're not going to have the people that is able to fill these jobs because these self-righteous and self-centered people. And besides, do they really want their children that dumbed down? They did a number on our community. And I say this to all other communities and people. Listen at this video. You can learn a lot. I say to young people from 18 to 30 years old, take heed to what they're doing to you. Hold your children more closer to you. They took everything away possible that could make men prosperous, that could make men to be true men. Started with a liberal agenda and a gay agenda. Sure did. And no, people, it's not okay to be gay. And no, it's not okay to not be able to think with a mind of your own. And no, it is not okay for parents not to be able to lay a course for their children. That could lead them to a more prosperous and better life. We cannot allow these people to continue to go on with this mess. That is how they tore up the African American community, people. There will be another segment up on this. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to bring this podcast to a close. But there will be there will be a second part to this particular podcast. Dumbing down children, because there were other things that they also done that a lot of people don't know anything about, and how they destroyed the Black community, but there's a way to bring it back. There's a way to bring it back and to move it forward and to get rid of these people for good. To teach them not to mess with you ever again. And we're going to put that out in the second podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get ready to bring this podcast to a close. This was a podcast tonight to me that was very, very heartfelt. This is a segment of this podcast here, Dumbing Down Children, how they have stricken the Black community in order to fulfill a selfish and a destructive agenda, and how they made the Black man not only irrelevant, and how they made the African American community so fragile. You remove the Black man and you attack the children. Let me tell you something, people, that's heinous. That's heinous, and they removed everything that what manhood meant. And they also did it to women too. We're going to get into the next segment. There will be a part 2 to this one. And to women, don't just think that they didn't do anything to you. Oh, yes, they did. We're going to get into that too. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a very, very heartfelt segment for me, because I am very, very passionate about what happened to the Black community. And I'm going to be around. And we're going to do a part 2 to this one, Dumbing Down Children, the destruction of the Black community. even America as we know it. We love y'all. See y'all next go round. Shows will be starting on time, and there are going to be more upgrades, ladies and gentlemen, coming about. Proud of that. And there's more content that's going to come out. And this is another subject, ladies and gentlemen, that we really need to get off into more. We love y'all. And we're going to bring this segment to a close. And we want to go, and I want to say to everyone that is out there watching tonight, that's going to come back and watch this rerun, we love y'all, and peace out. Peace. Yeah. We're going to solve a lot of these problems, baby. Yeah. We're going to wake up a whole lot of people. Because I'm going to tell you something, people, they done woke up something. They sure have. Yeah. Yeah. Just can't be doing all that. All that heinous stuff they pulled on the black community. And they went to the children to do it. There's going to be more content to come out. There's going to be better content to come out. Like I say again, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be more upgrades that are coming. And we're going to build this channel for the people. And next, I'm trying to get to come up where men can make their voices heard. Still working on these projects. I love doing this. I love being a YouTuber. I'm going to turn out to be one of the hardest. I am going to be the hardest working man in YouTube. And we're going to bring live content, great content. We're going to bring our communities back together. Our men and women, we're all going to come back together. But we have to figure out exactly what happened to us first. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to build an agenda to where they are never going to want to mess with us ever again. We can't have this. Not. If we want to live. There's something more important going on than just some crazy agenda with some people. You know, we're talking about the next generation, our bloodline, who we are as a people. Is this what we want to be? I'm sorry, but I ain't with that. I'm not with the crazy agenda of destruction. I'm not with the crazy agenda of destruction. And this, what they pulled on the African American community, is destructive. And we need to put them on notice. Can't turn you back. We love y'all. Peace out. That's why I put that train up here. Coming for you, baby. Ain't gonna continue to do that. Turn down people's hopes and dreams. Which one of them would come at me?